She is not here.
Oh.
Devshri, didn't you call her? Devshri?
I just called. Okay. Yeah. Let's start. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Saturday Intellectual Meet on this special day when we are commemorating the Bard of Avon, William
May I request the
Shakespeare.
people, those who speak, to switch on their cameras, please, so that people can see?
Yes, sir.
Why this is blessing in disguise?
Yes, I'll keep it in mind. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this special day when we are commemorating Shakespeare. Uh, I welcome you all the participants who have joined in, and Garcha ma'am, Tiwari ma'am, Mishra sir, moderator for the evening, Mishra ma'am, and also the founder of iSpell, Dr. J. Ghanshyam. So before we begin the event, I would first like to move away a little from the schedule and request Dr. Ghanshyam to please share his insight on this special day so we can start with his inspiring words. Sir, could you please share a few insight on Shakespeare?
Oh, I was not told even. I was not even ready for that. Okay, good evening to each and everyone, those who are present on the platform of iSpell, Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and Literature, which is known popularly by its acronym iSpell. Indeed, I welcome the keynote speaker of today's event, Dr. Rajkamal Mishra, my very dear friend, and the chairperson of today's event, including the moderator and the coordinator. Wishing you all a very happy English Day and also the International Book Day. Friends, indeed, it's a great pleasure to celebrate the birthday of ours, and it becomes more happier when you celebrate the birthday of others. And it becomes the happiest day when you celebrate the language which we are teaching, the language which we are using, and the language which has become the bread and butter of our lives. So today we are celebrating the language which has become the bread and butter of our life. So long back, Francis Bacon has said, some books are to be tasted, and some of them to be chewed, and few of them to be swallowed and digested. And today is the day of the books. We need to touch the books. We need to touch the students we teach. And if we do not do that, then take out tea, what remains is ouch. So this world should not be full of ouch, but this world should be of touch. So the touch is more important. And today, when we celebrate the birthday of Shakespeare, Shakespeare has touched the hearts and souls of millions of people throughout this globe. The people, those who haven't even studied English literature, they know Shakespeare very well. And Shakespeare is the person who has shaken all the fears of English. So whenever I come across my students, I tell them, if you want to shake your fear, just that's made Shakespeare made relevant even today also. Even India also by Vishal Bharadwaj, who has made Hyder and who has made Onkar with the help of Othello. Long since times immemorial, Shakespeare has been not only academia, not only as far as the theater is concerned, but also in our lives, also in all our day-to-day life also. So the day life have so many characters of Shakespeare. They do emerge, do have within our maybe neighborhood, in maybe to every. So today is a great day for all of us. 23rd of April, 2020, we are to celebrate Shakespeare. Nothing ourselves and the thing for you just somewhere. I spell Chhattisgarh Forum doing kind of a tribute to share, not make other
Narrator of today's event, Dr. Sushma Mishra. Dr. Sushma Mishra is an assistant professor posted at Government Pandit Shyamacharan Shukla College, Dharsiva, Raipur. She has a teaching experience of 8 years in UG and 5 years in PG. Her specialization has been in Indian writing in English, and she has done her doctoral thesis on the novels of Mulk Raj Anand. She has authored various research papers published in international and national journals and has also presented many papers in seminars uh, and international and national conferences. Mishra ma'am, Mishra ma'am, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here only.
Okay,
Ma'am,
okay. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. And I hand over the stage to you. So please, you can introduce the speaker and we can proceed with the event. Thank you, ma'am.
dignitaries, and proud privilege for me to introduce today's speaker. Today, we have with us Dr. Raj Kamal Mishra, sir. Presently, long and sir has published many research papers in national and international journals, and he has guided two PhD scholars are working under him, and he's a supervisor, and one MPhil is again in under process. And sir has worked as a nodal officer of RUSA, monitored the institutional development plans prepared by the government colleges. He has worked as a coordinator of district Red Cross organizer. He's nodal officer of RUSA. He has been convener and member in college inspection committee for granting and extending affiliation to approving the colleges as research center of the university. He has worked as an additional worked as a counselor of IGNU. His achievements, uh, two UGC sponsored minor research projects have been completed, and various research papers have been published in various reputed journals. He had edited many reputed books, and he has organized two visits of UGC expert committee to the college for extension of its autonomy status, and he has been instrumental in the visit of BCI team for the approval of LLB program in his college. And he also worked as a exam superintendent in university exams in government college Ramanujaganj in 2012, and he acts as an assistant superintendent in university exams in the colleges. He also acted as assistant coordinator and observer in CG Vyapam exams in the colleges since last 18 years, and also as a CBSC observer in NEET exam for 3 years. And he has been selected through MPPSC in 92, and he has delivered lectures as a resource person, 12 it has been mentioned, and he has also delivered many lectures in the seminars, workshops. He has been the coordinator and the organizer of many seminars and workshops. So over to you, sir. With utmost respect, I would invite you, sir, to deliver the speech. Dr. Raj Kamal Mishra, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So, respected Kirti Tiwari, ma'am, Dr. G. A. Ghamsyam, sir, Devasri Susma, ma'am, and all others participants who gathered here to pay a tribute to the word of the art, great Shakespeare, and who need not to be get any introduction. we are gathered here to celebrate many days. Today, World Book Day is there, Shakespeare's birthday is there. It is also the day of Intellectual Property Right Day, the book World Book Day. But all the most, we gathered here to talk about Shakespeare. Although my great friend Dr. G. A. Ghanshyam and Susma Man said much about me, but I'm not so. I'm very humbler student of English literature. Here I will put my views before you regarding relevance of Shakespeare. Shakespeare has been a great man of letter, great artist, a great dramatist, and a great poet. But I like him most for his dramas because uh, Kavya Sunatake Ramyam Tat Ramya Sakuntala. This is about Kalidasa, a great dramatist, great Indian dramatist. So in literature, other jazz in among the other jazz, dramas are most important, most uh, excellent. Here, it is a great question nowadays that English language is not no more uh, a foreign language. It is as Indian language as any other language, our language. The language when we start speaking, the language becomes ours. Here, I would like to talk about his great tragedy, Hamlet, because in such an event, all the works of Shakespeare could not be mentioned, could not be taken. So I'd like to talk about his Hamlet. See, I would like to quote from Act 1, Scene 5. Act 1, Scene 3, sorry, Act 1, Scene 3 of Hamlet, in which Polonius sends Leotis, his son Leotis, to France to study. And he instructs him what to do, what not to do there in France. And I find this scene is most important because I like it, I consider it as the code of conduct when a father gives instructions to his son. And I myself remember that whenever I go outside, abroad, means out of station, my father always warned him and gives us instructions. And so it seems that the dramas of Shakespeare is not for the English people, the Britishers, but they have crossed the limit of time and space. And so it appears as these instructions has been given to me and to everybody who reads it. If time permits, ma'am, Devsri ma'am, how much time is there?
Sir, you have 40 to 50 minutes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. So when Leotis goes to France, his son, his father Polonius, first of all blesses him and then gives a long instructions. And these instructions are the gems of life. And it is very helpful to everybody. First is, the character is very important. I quote, look thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any proportioned thought his act. Means whatever ideas are there, thought is there in mind. It should not be disclosed to anybody else. And without thinking a lot, the thought should not be given to the action. Why? Because acting anything, we give any thought to act, a person should think 1,000 times about its benefits, loss, and so that when the action is taken, it should not be undone, and the person should not be lament after it has been taken. Another is, be thou familiar, but thy no means vulgar. Means the person should be aware and familiar to everybody, but not vulgar to anybody. The friends thou hast and their adoption tried. So the friends should be made with long trial. So the true friends only can be have. We can have only true friends. Because true friends, many times what happened, the friends appear to be true, but they are not actually true. Grapple them to thy soul with hoods of steel, but do not dull thy brain with entertainment of each new hedged and fledged courage. So what happened in this scene? Polonius is very particular and gives instructions to his son, and these instructions are very helpful to everybody and to every young person, young students, that they can grapple their life, make their life using these important instructions. He says, beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, but it that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. So the quarrel should not begin. One should not begin any quarrel, but when the quarrel is begun, then it should be finished. It should not be lengthened. Then give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censor, but reserve thy judgment. So everybody should be heard, listened carefully, but the judgment should be taken reserved. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy. Rich, not gaudy. For the apparel oft proclaim the man, and they in France of the best rank and station. So he also instructs about the clothes, what type of clothes he should wear. So these instructions, I think, are the most important instructions that has been given from a father to a son. And see, these instructions are still given to the sons. At that time, one thing more, these instructions are very relevant even now. Even after the death of, actually 500 years of death of Shakespeare, these instructions still have a great relevance, not for me, but for all human beings. And using these instructions, the man can have a great deal of pleasure and can construct the character and a good character. Nowadays, what happened? At that time, only the royal people send their sons to study abroad. But nowadays, what happened? Everybody is sending their sons and wards to study abroad, outside, out of station. Though at the time in India, it was considered not good. But nowadays, it is in fashion. But what happened? See, what Shakespeare suggested us 500 years ago, it is still relevant today. So when Leotis goes to France, Polonius does not keep quiet, but he sends his friend Ronaldo to see his character, his behavior, whether he is behaving well or not. And just suggests also how he will Ronaldo should go and how he should try to know about his conduct, behavior there. So first of all, he said that he should try to begin the talk to the people, this introduction, like how he knows his fathers, he is very familiar to his family, and then the people will talk about Laertes. So see what happened. It is very important suggestion, important lesson that Shakespeare teaches us, that while we our and daughters to study out a station, study abroad. Abroad Laertes, he will say only the bad things about Laertes. So what happened? It's a great thing that if anyone wants to know about a person, he should see him, what he thinks, what he acts, and what he says among his friends. Because when a person remains amongst his friends, he remains very informal, and there he can caught. Another thing that I would like to put the point before you, that is Hamlet's suicidal intuitions. So Hamlet also thinks to be or not to be, that is the question, or oh to too solid flesh. And two times he thinks to commit suicide, but he is very thoughtful, and he helped, that his thoughtfulness helped him to not to commit suicide. So what happened? Our students, even the student who is studying in class 9th or others, they think to commit suicide. And so when he read and he is given the thought of Shakespeare's Hamlet, if he given the lesson of Shakespeare Hamlet, the suicidal institution can be removed. So even in that case, uh, Hamlet or Hamlet's Shakespeare's Hamlet is very relevant, because the suicidal institution remains very momentary in 2 or 3 or 15 seconds. And if in that time, that period, if the person think about it, the consequences and others, this institution can be removed. Shakespeare also teaches us lesson that what others say about, we should not believe blindly. So what happened when Hamlet's father's ghost appears and says that he is murdered by his younger brother, King Claudius, who is the king of Denmark at the time. Hamlet does not believe it, but he decides to check the conscience. Similarly, what others say, it's not necessary that they are true, and it is, or what majority of people say does not true. So many times in many works like a School for a Scandal and others, it has been proved that we should ourselves check the truth, the truth value of what people say. So even that case, it proves the relevance of Shakespeare's dramas, Shakespeare's works. Then another teaching that Shakespeare has given, we get from his drama Hamlet, is we are always or many times deceived by the appearances. What appears, we are deceived by that. So all that glitters is not gold, the proverb proved here. And I would like to quote one line of Shakespeare's Hamlet, that one may smile and be a villain. So we have heard many of villain who appears innocent, but they are not as they are looked. So it again proved the Shakespeare's relevance. Because what happened? What people appear, many cases are there. I'm not going to give examples from our day-to-day life, but few like Baba Rampal and some others who have appearance of a great saint, a great hermit, but they appear as a great villain. So what happened? Not only the case is still under trial, but we should always, what appears is not true. So we should be beware of the appearances and a smiling damned villain. And now I turn to another work, Shakespeare's another work, that is Othello. So Othello and Desdemona were great couple, a loving person. But what happened? One hasty decision has just ruined the life of the couple. Ruined the life of the couple. Iago, who got the handkerchief, which was unfortunately slipped by Desdemona, taken by Iago. Iago takes that handkerchief and reaches to Othello and says that his wife is faithless and she loves Iago, and this handkerchief, which was given as a token of love by Othello to her, is given to him, Iago. At this, what happened? Othello becomes very angry and goes and does not give any time. Although Desdemona cries to prove her honesty, prove her faith and belief in her. Actually, what happened? The relationship of husband and wife is very, very pious, depend on very thin thread of belief. And with this belief is gone, it takes a great danger. But what happened? One hasty decision of Othello finished the love life of Othello and Desdemona. Desdemona keeps crying that she will prove her honesty. She is not faithless. She loves him very much. But he has strangled her, and Desdemona dies. And at last, when the reality comes to him, he has no option except to weep and lament over what he has done. Another example I would like to put from Macbeth. So Macbeth also believes blindly. Why the three witches says that he will become the general, and he is ready to accept the foul is fair and fair is foul, and by using the foul means murdering King Duncan, who is the guest of honor of his house at the time. He became the king himself. But what happened? He lost the peace of his life. So here again, if Macbeth does not grow greed of being the king himself, he could not committed such great crime, and he might have lived happily as a general. What the honor and respect was given to him by King Duncan. Then I would like to cite example from Julius Caesar. The wife of Julius Caesar warned Julius Caesar not to go to the Senate because some black omens that appears to her, and she was very worried about the events, incidents which were going to supposed to take place in a moment in the Senate. But what happened? Julius Caesar says, cowardice many times before their deaths were valiantest once, and believes that what would happen, what shall happen, what will happen, shall happen, and he goes to the Senate, and where he was brutally murdered by his friend Brutus and others. It also shows the overconfidence is bad. We should not remain in overconfidence. So these are the facts that shows that does not happen to the characters of Shakespeare, but these incidents and events prove Shakespeare's relevance, and Shakespeare was relevant, is relevant, and will relevant for all the period and all the time, for the time immemorial, till this world is there. So with these words, I would like to finish my lecture. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. Uh, Now I would like to introduce the chairperson of today's session.
Sushma ma'am, excuse me ma'am. We should take the questions from any of the participants. If there are any questions or queries, we have to take that first.
I'm so sorry, ma'am. I just forgot that.
Yeah.
Now I would like to request the participants to kindly raise the questions.
ನಿಮಗೆ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ.
Yes, ma'am. Any questions
Are there
from the? Yes.
any questions? If anyone wants to ask something, they want to comment on some aspect, they can please unmute and comment.
There is one compliment from Dr. Indrani, Dr. Lieutenant Indrani.
See, when a person delivers a lecture, indeed we must comment and raise certain issues because this forum is basically for discussion. And all of us are teaching Shakespeare, and the students they are studying Shakespeare right from I think class 10th to their post graduation. And even in PhD also, most of them are doing their PhDs in relation to Shakespeare. Maybe a kind of a comparative study, but they are doing it. So I do request the people, those who are on the platform of iSpell, not to raise any question, but they can comment on their own. They can comment on how they teach Shakespeare, how they take Shakespeare, and how the students are aware of Shakespeare. So this could be a good kind of a discussion which could be implemented by most of us in the classrooms if we are not using that. So that could become a kind of a tool for all of us. So kindly join this kind of a discussion and do put forth your comment, your views, your ideas about the relevance of Shakespeare in the present scenario.
Any comments from anyone? Or maybe
You can start, Devshri. Devshri, you can start.
Okay.
Then gradually
Okay,
people will take up.
yes, I think first of all, I should congratulate Mishra sir, and I'm really thankful to him. It was an excellent lecture. And yes, what I personally think is Shakespeare is main quality that has made him so relevant because when I think first time he suggested we should commemorate Shakespeare, the one question that I had in mind was why still Shakespeare? Because when we think of English literature, it becomes synonymous with William Shakespeare. And though we have come a long way and English literature is not only confined to the literature from the land that gave birth to the language, but has extended to cover the entire world, we still look up to Shakespeare as someone who is an epitome of literary excellence in English. And that is because of the universal quality in them. What attracts us to any literature is the universality in it because, and this universality stems from the way he expresses the human relationships. What Sir has said, how when we remember Hamlet, we remember the instructions of a father to his son, or the demand of justice from a father to a son. So these things are very universal in character. They are not only true for a particular culture, but they are true for the entire globe. So that is what makes Shakespeare relevant even today. And people can relate to stories that are based on the plays of Shakespeare, be it Angur or Heather or Onkara, because these relations, these emotions are universal to all. And maybe that is the reason why we come and again we go back to him as someone who exemplifies what a good English literary piece can be. And that is what I experienced in my teaching of Shakespeare to PG students also. people relate to them, students can relate to them. They might not understand the language so well because they come from a rural background, but they can relate to those emotions, they can relate to the relationships that are portrayed, and that endears those literary pieces to them. I think that is all I have to share with all of you, and I think this is something which you all have experienced more than me. And I invite all the people who are participating in this event to please come forward with their views on Shakespeare, because this is one topic we have started our or for it was actually the one literary part with which we forayed into this fraternity of English literature and language. So all of us have something or the other, maybe an experience, maybe something from memory that we can share with others. So please do come forward with your experiences and memories related to Shakespeare, which will be a true tribute to the maestro. Thank you.
Thank you, Devarshi ma'am. And I would like to share the thoughts which are coming in my mind.
Ma'am, can do I have the permission to share my thoughts?
Please, ma'am, please. Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Respected Rajkamal sir, Dr. Ghansham sir, Kirti ma'am, Dr. Indrani ma'am. Really, it was a very enlightening session. But what I would like to share is that since even Devshi ma'am has mentioned that, our the students which we cater to are from rural backgrounds. So considering that, and the only appeal which Shakespeare has is that the emotions are universal, and human nature is the same everywhere. So emotions are the same, that's why they can relate it themselves to what Shakespeare wants to communicate or what he wants to say. But why should we study Shakespeare in the Shakespearean language? Why should we study Shakespeare in a language which is not even relevant today? It's not even in use today, and it's rather it's become so obsolete, and we need not know, like there's no need to know the language which he used. What we need to know is what he wanted to express, so that can be communicated in a paraphrased way. So what the need of the hour is knowing Shakespeare, what he wrote and what he wanted to say and what he wanted to communicate. So if that gets through, be it any language, it need not be the language which Shakespeare used. I think that will be more like reaching out to the people rather than just getting confined and reading out what he has written in a language which suited him, or like what was known to him, which we are not familiar with, which the students are not familiar with, and which is no longer in use. And knowing that language is not a must, it's not even mandatory to provided we just can get connected or get related to what he's trying to say. That's it, ma'am.
Very true, ma'am. Sushma, ma'am, you were saying something, so please, yes, ma'am.
I'm feeling as if I'm celebrating, I'm in a birthday party of Shakespeare today. So जब भी मैं शेक्सपियर को पढ़ती हूँ, I started reading Shakespeare from BA first year English literature, that from fairest creature we desire to increase. तो the language जिसमें उन्होंने लिखा है, at that time it was very difficult for me to understand, और वो सबको relate करना बहुत difficult था. But when I studied भरत मुनि's नाट्य शास्त्र, और उसमें मैंने पढ़ा कि जो भाव, विभाव, व्यभिचारी भाव, संचारी भाव, तो शेक्सपियर को जब हम पढ़ते हैं तो उनके चाहे जो भी ड्रामा हो, मैकबेथ, ओथेलो, जो भी हम लोगों ने पढ़ा है, या सोनेट्स है, तो वो सारे भाव, विभाव, व्यभिचारी भाव सारे हमको कहीं ना कहीं देखने को मिलते हैं. तो मैं उनको बहुत एडमायर करती हूँ. और जब सर अभी बता रहे थे कि ओथेलो को वो हैंडकरचीफ देती है, तो आई वाज रिमेम्बरिंग करीना कपूर्स परफॉर्मेंस. सो ये बहुत ही रेलेवेंट है, और ही इज वेरी क्लोज टू माय हार्ट एंड टू एवरीबॉडीज हार्ट, क्योंकि वो जो इमोशन है, ह्यूमन इमोशन, जैसे अभी गार्चा मैम ने कहा कि वो यूनिवर्सल है और वो टाइमलेस है. जब से शायद इंसान है तो उसके साथ ये सारे भाव विभाव व्यभिचारी भाव एंड ऑल है, और शेक्सपियर ने वो सबको बहुत अच्छे से शब्दों में बयान किया है, तो इसीलिए ही इज द मास्टर एंड वी सल्यूट हिम. थैंक यू मैम.
Very true, ma'am. Anyone else who wants to share something, their views, opinion, or maybe comment on something? Okay, Sushma ma'am, I think no one is coming forth, so you can just proceed with the schedule and you can now invite the chairperson for summing up the evening.
Ma'am, in the chat box, there are some comments and compliments. May I read one from Chandan Soni sir? Or may I request
Okay, sure.
Chandan Soni sir, will you please read your comments?
Yes, ma'am. I feel that as Garjam put that point, that was my point, that the help of paraphrase, the very beauty of Shakespeare is lost. So that is a contradiction, I feel. And for that, we need to work on the language part of the students. Like after being comfortable in language, then only we can actually enjoy Shakespeare and teach Shakespeare. Even we have to keep a dictionary whenever we are going through the text. That is what I feel the trouble with enjoying Shakespeare. In sonnets, he is very much simple. His words are very simple in sonnets. We have in BA as well as in MA. But in dramas, he is very critical. That is what I feel.
Yes, sir. Even I feel the same. Okay. Devashi ma'am, may I proceed now to introduce the chairperson?
Yes, ma'am, please.
It's an
Actually,
honor.
I would interrupt here. No need to introduce me. I will introduce myself. I am just an ordinary soul known as Kirti Tiwari, busy in the pursuit of knowledge. I tried that. I love my subject. I love my profession, and I love Shakespeare. That is enough introduction of mine. And if with your permission, shall I start my job now?
Please, ma'am, please. We are eagerly waiting to hear you.
So I just wanted a few more minutes that might have been wasted in reading the typical introduction or the bio note of mine. So thank you very much, Sushma ma'am, Devshri madam. First of all, I congratulate iSpell CG Forum for organizing a beautiful program on English Language Day. Dr. G.A. Ghansham, founder of the society, and president, coordinator, convener, master of ceremony, and professors who have joined from different states, the active participants. I welcome one and all, and I'm happy, and it's my proud privilege to be here to share my views as chairperson. Of course, last but not the least, Raj Kamal Mishra sir, who is the keynote speaker of today's session. It was really a very interesting talk of his, deliberation of his on Shakespeare. He began by telling about the greatness of Shakespeare and his inclination and liking for him. And he said that how English language is no longer a foreign language. It is language of our intellectual makeup. And now, after so many years, we may say that it has also become a language of our emotional makeup. To some extent, and hence is the relevance of Language Day in India, because language doesn't matter. It is what Shakespeare's plays have taught us, how they are relevant today. Sir very nicely started with one of the most popular plays of Shakespeare, that is Hamlet. And the lines he started explaining, that is the valuable pieces of advice of Polonius to his son Laertes before he departed to France. They are my favorite lines also, and I have written those lines myself on my writing desk, and daily I see them. Never a borrower nor a lender be, or how so many pieces of advice are there. Shakespeare's plays are full of such noble thoughts that can guide us always. And he also commented upon the suicidal tendency of Hamlet, but how he checks it, and said that how we can train our youngsters that way, that because the thought of committing suicide is very momentary, and once the moment passes, if we reflect upon that, then we regret. So if we can inculcate that kind of, or train our students that before doing anything they should think and reflect upon what will be the consequences, such suicidal attempts can be checked, or he said removed also. And then how we should not blindly believe in anybody, but try to understand ourselves. This is a Vedantic thought also. Shakespeare, he said, has, and we all know, as everyone was saying, that his plays has gone through the test of time and place, and they have proved to be popular because the themes and the emotions they deal with are universal. So universality is there in the works of Shakespeare. And Mishra sir has selected some plays like Othello, Macbeth, Julius Caesar, and told us how lessons can be drawn from these plays, and that proves the relevance of Shakespeare. So, sir, I congratulate you for analyzing plays of Shakespeare. Of course, in such a short time, one can't do justice to such a vast topic, but even then, your thoughts must have kindled the imagination of all those who have heard you, the participants. So from my side, I wanted to uh, share my views also on Shakespeare, because I have been teaching Shakespeare since 1983, and before that I was a student, and I love the drama paper, and of course the plays of Shakespeare. We have read Shakespeare in BA also. I would like to start with an incident which the famous critic John Middleton Murray tells us. He said that once he asked a poet critic that why have you left Shakespeare in your writings? So the reply he got was that he is too terrifying. He frightens me. And imagine this view came from a person who had studied Shakespeare deeply and had great familiarity with him, and more than anyone else. And this is because Murray says that he has really understood Shakespeare, that he is like life. In fact, Shakespeare is life itself. And to those who feel that they have understood life, or they are familiar with life, actually they are in a dream. Nobody can understand life. Life is so complex, life is so mysterious. And when I say that life is when we talk about life, or try to realize, or know life, it is always terrifying in the fundamental sense, not only by the menace of the dangers, physical dangers that are there, but to know what it is or what is the fact of birth or the fact of death. For death itself, as we know, is a mystery. And we all know, because we don't know anything what happens after death. So, but the mystery and terror of life, each man has to discover himself. As Mishra sir has said, we are on our own spiritual journey, and we have to discover our own self. We can't depend upon others, what they have said. There is a saying that all things lead to mystery, and to realize this is the truth of life. And realizing this, it is realizing this actually leads to moments of fear, and this terrifying truth, terrifying in the different sense, terrifying truth of life is in Shakespeare's works, as it is in no other works of any other writer. When we think about life, we know that sometimes it is ups and downs are there, so that is quite common. But when we feel
दादी मोरी आंटी ठीक है मोरी आंटी बहुत अच्छी है.
So when we feel that life is good, actually we are not passing judgment. We are experiencing the joy, the divine joy, which is actually attributed to the Creator. Oh, God has given me such beautiful moments, and this goodness, when we say life is good, it is not opposite to bad. Generally, good and bad, they are considered relative terms. But here, when we are appreciating, it is not opposite of badness, but each with the simple marvel of its own identity. And in Shakespeare, we learn to experience the nature of this prime creative joy. And that, I think, is the relevance of Shakespeare, studying Shakespeare. Another important point, one more point I want to stress upon, is the vision of holiness that we find in Shakespeare. This we all should think about the whole world as one. So this vision of wholeness should be there in thinking mind, all thinking minds. But somehow or the other, because of the material age of personal profit and material gain and all that, we have been neglecting. So we can say that this our age is quite arrogant, and it ignores that kind of worldview. But now we should reawaken it, right? And in the new understanding, we can see that human kingdom is the field in which nature becomes conscious of herself. So we should utilize this life in understanding that, of course, through plays of Shakespeare and other such writers. If you read mythology, all fairy stories or tales, and they are quite symbolic. And this is quite natural, because first thing is we have to realize that we are a spiritual being, and we can know that we are on our allegorical journey, you can say. And we can interpret all objects and characters of the plays symbolically that way. And when this kind of mystical harmony is achieved, or you can say a sort of a wedding, then we can return to the eternal. We can try and we can hope to touch the eternal. And that should be the effort of all. Shakespeare's plays constitute, in this sense, a great body of mythology. Once we see this vision of wholeness, the problem is we prescribe maximum 4 plays in MA. In some university, there might be separate papers on Shakespeare, but generally 2 or 3 or 4 plays, and that's all. And whatever is prescribed, we read. But to understand Shakespeare and his relevance, we have to go through all the plays that he has written, and then we will find an underlying unity, a vision of wholeness in his plays. Of course, in the beginning, we may find that the reality is polarized, but then slowly, when those confusion and other things are gone, then the harmony is restored. So you can start with the comedy of error, which is one of the clearest examples of it. And so we should not think, it is a great mistake to think that Shakespeare's plays are simply comedies. Actually, all his plays, we have categorized them into tragedies, comedies, historical plays, and so on and so forth. But they should be looked through as allegories, and we should try to interpret the symbolism behind them, and that would be very beneficial for all. And in all allegorical interpretations of characters, we would find that they are the different aspects of personality, and we can identify our own with them. And this is quite common. Then if we come to suppose an example, if we can take the Merchant of Venice, it can be compared with As You Like It also, and in both the plays we have the indication of the need to attain the higher level of consciousness. They are not ordinary stories. Say for instance, Bassanio wins his higher self Portia through a wonderful fairy story lottery, but in that instant he gets separated from her, and then returns to Venice to watch what is virtually the ritual murder of his friend by the Jew. And the task of man on this plane appears to be to find and unite with the spiritual self. And when two people decide, then the divine also comes for help, right? So the higher worlds don't waste any time. And the characters might be separated, but once they prove themselves, then they get the reward. And very often we feel that this pattern is actually there in the lives of all. And if we again take up Portia can be considered as the higher love and wisdom which comes to the rescue in disguise. And remember the famous words of her, tarry a little, there is something else, when she calls Shylock when he was about to cut the pound of flesh from the merchant. This line sounds like a call to our materialistic culture, that there is a whole set of values and vision of the world which we are missing. I always go for spiritual interpretations. So what I feel is we just read at the superficial level and don't try to go to deeper levels when we are teaching or when we are studying. And actually all the problems, they are actually spiritual problems. They start from our inside, and the solutions are also there, right? So then again, if we take the Tempest, again, we know Ferdinand and Miranda, they are in love, but soon after, he they Prospero comes and he puts Ferdinand to trial, and so Ferdinand is allowed to marry his higher soul of love, and as soon as he stands the test, he is shown the great vision of a spiritual meaning of the word. So the whole play is actually a picture of initiation. On the magic island, we see that. Then an important clue in the imagery of the Tempest is that all the characters, they are moving and they are quite symbolical. They are in confusion, they are separated in different groups and all, and then they move towards clear air, and so we can tackle play after play, and they will break into allegories and the strangest and the most improbable situations, such as no modern dramatist would dare to present, take their place with an inevitable rightness when we look in this way. So we have to, as teachers and also as students, we have to explore plays of Shakespeare from this angle. And as I have said, for this, we will have to read the whole work of Shakespeare. I remember when I was in MA, our teacher, he was a very learned one, Dr. J. Shri Hari Rao. He used to teach us, and he told once, I remember still, and I try to, practice myself, but so far I couldn't do it. He told that when he was a student in MA, what he did was every Sunday he used to get up in the morning and take one play, or sometimes even two, and he read all the plays of Shakespeare. The tendency today is that if Gitanjali is prescribed, only a few songs; if Western is prescribed, only two sections; if Discovery of India is prescribed, only a few lessons. No, in post-graduation, we should, if a tragedy is prescribed, we should study all the tragedies of Shakespeare plus play similar plays of other playwrights. Then only we will develop an understanding, better understanding the style. So I would like to conclude my talk by just giving a suggestions to the participants that we should go for vision of wholeness. And if we go you will find it in so many writers. Literature is known for that. Emerson, so Raja Rao, or so many are there. They are writing different forms of literature. So if we see the underlying unity, then what will happen? All the conflicts will be resolved, because where there are two, there is conflict. But when there is only one, then there cannot be any conflict. And that is also, I think, is the concept of Brahma. Brahma is one who occupies the whole Brahmand. And if Brahma is occupying the whole Brahmand, there is no existence from it for other. So we have been taught that Aham Brahmasmi, feel that you are that. And when you feel that you are everywhere, then there is no partiality, there is no inclination, there is no space to go here and there, and there is no other. All are one. So all conflicts, all modern problems, depression, frustration, suicide, and so many other elements, they can be tackled, and problems could be solved if we adopt that view. So do read the plays of Shakespeare from that angle. Today, I'm very happy. One of my students told, who passed the last year, I celebrated Language Day in my college also. She said, I have ordered 15 plays of Shakespeare, and I have decided to read all of them. So that should be the spirit. Don't and as I would like to comment on Chandan's problem also and Harpreet's. So language, but the beauty of language is Shakespearean language, and some words may be difficult, but they are not that difficult. Actually, see, never a borrower nor a lender be. What is difficult in this? So train our students, you yourself felt that we have to elevate our students to a level where they can understand and read Shakespeare properly, because there can be no other writer so relevant today as Shakespeare. So with that, I end my talk. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Congratulations to Mishra sir once again for his wonderful talk. Thank you so much. You may proceed now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And Sushma ma'am, please continue.
To do utility work, I to read it.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Might be some network. Is it here now?
Your voice is breaking up.
Now, computer extra something. Now, they were to know to see.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful evening today because firstly, we heard Mishra sir, and his presentation on Shakespeare was so comprehensive and so elaborate. It was worth revisiting all those plays that we have studied in our UG and PG classes. Sir, your lecture was truly enlightening, and we could relate to all the points that you had presented in your lecture. And Tiwari ma'am, what can I say? It's such a powerful insight and such a different perspective on Shakespeare. So now continuing with the event, I would like to request Garcha ma'am to please present the certificates to the speaker, chairperson, and the moderator of today's event. Nurul is sharing the certificates. Garcha ma'am, over to you, please.
Fine, ma'am. I would suggest, like, since we have the privilege of having Dr. G. Ghanshyam with us, so let him do the honors, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I just thought that he had left. Okay, sorry, ma'am. Yeah, may I request the founder and general secretary of iSpell India, Dr. G. Ghanshyam, to please present the certificates to our speaker, chairperson, and moderator. Sir, over to you, please. Sir, are you there? Garcha ma'am, I think he's not there because I checked the list and iSpell India was not on the list.
Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. It is events of this nature are not practically feasible without the support and cooperation of many. So, and it is a humble duty to express our gratitude and appreciation to all those who have contributed to this success of this event. And first of all, I would like to express my gratitude towards Dr. Rajkamal Mishra, the keynote speaker of today. Please accept this token of appreciation for your professional expertise and competence and the support which you have rendered as a speaker. This certificate is in honor of your support, sir. Please accept this token of appreciation. Dr. Rajkamal Mishra, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this honor that you have given me, and the whole ISPEL members and the forum. who has given this great opportunity to deliver a lecture. Though I considered it was very short, but due to some family problem, I could not have spoken much. Okay, thank you.
No, sir, it was very elaborative and we it was very enlightening, sir. Thank you so much for your professional competence, sir. Thank you. Next is this token of appreciation is for our beloved patron and the chairperson of today, Dr. Kirti Tiwari, who is the guiding force, the pillar of support of ISPIL, and she's always there with us. This is just a token of appreciation for the services rendered, ma'am. Please accept it.
Thank you
There
so
are no
much.
words to thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
No, sir. And you do not need certification, and there are no words to thank you, ma'am. It's just a token. Please accept it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
This certificate is a token of appreciation for a person who has road mapped the whole event right from the commencement till the end. And it is none other than Dr. Sushma Mishra. Thank you for so beautifully sailing the boat and moderating the session. This is for you, Dr. Sushma Mishra. Please accept it.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me an opportunity. Thank you so much.
I think that's all. And fine. Over to Devashri, ma'am.
Yes, and thank you so much. I think we have way past our time, allotted time. So once again, I thank you all the office bearers of ISPER CG Forum, all the participants, the speaker, the moderator, the chairperson, as well as the founder of ISPEL India, Dr. Ghanshyam. I thank you all. I thank all of you for this wonderful opportunity and this wonderful evening that greatly inspired and motivated all of us to go back to Shakespeare and maybe relearn all his plays in a new perspective. Thank you so much, and meeting you soon in the next webinar. Thank you.
Devashri madam,
Yes,
I have
sir.
a request. I have a request to make. Garcha ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Madam, today's chairperson comment from Tiwari madam were so inspiring, and I feel that we must have a session from Tiwari madam on, especially on Shakespearean plays. Maybe
Yes, sir,
on
the
her
same.
favorite lines and her elaborations. Tiwari ma'am, are you there?
Yes, of course, I am.
Agreed,
Yes, ma'am.
Chandan.
Yes, ma'am.
Agreed. We'll plan
I
it.
mean, it could be an elaborate event, like it could be a personal as well. However, we can put it
No,
Yeah, it will be wonderful.
we
Yes,
can
sir.
have discussions. Yeah.
between us. It could be between us
Yeah,
or
yeah,
open for all,
yeah.
whichever way. But we must have a session from Tiwari madam. I feel like so fortunate are the students who are madam's students. I'm feeling like that. I've always felt like that, but then especially, I mean, an approach for Shakespeare. So many approaches you have talked about in such a small, short opinion. So we need more, man.
So kind of you to say that. I am always there. We can have discussion, and of course we can involve professors like Sajdev sir, Ghanshyam sir, and all.
Yes,
This is only for really interested teachers.
yes, ma'am. That's what I wanted to say.
So Murli
We'll
Krishnan sir
plan
is
something like that.
all are there. Shamta Chaudhary ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyhow,
Enjoying how to enjoy and interpret Shakespeare and how to take him in our real life.
yes.
It was indeed a very good deliberation, and I was really impressed by the comments of Dr. Kirti Tiwari, and I have found her very intellectually, means I have listened to her a number of times with her, that the wonderful academic insight she has. I always benefit from her remarks. Thank you, Dr. Kirti Tiwari, and thanks to the keynote speaker, Dr. Rajkamal, for celebrating this day of Shakespeare's Day on 23rd of April. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sajdev sir. A comment and appreciation of yours is really valuable. And Mulli Krishna sir, Indrani madam, they have all appreciated. I'm on cloud 9 today. Thank you so much. So kind of you. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Devshri, for organizing this, and I congratulate the whole iSpell CG Forum for this event.
Thank you, ma'am. You all are our inspiration. Without your blessings and support, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Garsha ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to do the events in April. And looking forward to hearing from Tiwari ma'am. We will eagerly await your session on Shakespeare, ma'am. Thank you, everyone, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Good
ma'am.
night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.